So what's this thing running? As far as I know, it is a Predator 212, totally stock internal with a VM22 and a header pipe. And it has a 420 chain, but that's about it. Oh, and the best part about this bike, it has the sweet paint job. Probably the best paint job out of the bunch. So you're gonna try to make it faster? Yeah, probably gonna add a billet flywheel, billet rod, a cam, maybe a high compression head. You do know there's a way to make that bike a lot faster without having to add all that stuff, a head and cam and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, that stuff might make the bike a little bit faster, but nothing compared to what I got. So I can leave the stock internals. I don't have to add a billet rod, billet flywheel, and a cam. Oh yeah, totally stock internals, but the bike will be a lot faster than it would be with a billet rod, billet flywheel, and a cam. I mean, you're talking stock internals, super fast. I've been working on this extensive mathematical equation for like 6 months, and I finally broke the code. So what are you talking about exactly? What I'm talking about is a 5-foot intake. Yeah, whatever. I mean, won't a 5-foot intake stick out way too far? I remember the 3-foot intake, and that thing stuck out. You had to really watch what you were doing or you'd hit something. Exactly. That's why we're talking about a spiral intake. With a spiral intake, you increase the air-fuel velocity by 27 times, which in turn equals actually rocket ship. Your bike will be faster than it ever has before. It'll be faster than a billet rod, billet flywheel, cam, head, all that stuff put together. And the best part, it's not going to stick out like a 3-foot intake would. It's spiral. So not only are you adding performance, but you're adding practicality. Oh, okay, I get it. Well, you've never steered me wrong before. I mean, the 3-foot intake performed really well. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and try it. So I think I might have some tubing that would work in the top secret Minibike parts stash. So I think I have some tubing around here. Some tires, handlebars, maybe some engine. There we go. All right, so this looks like it might work. If I can get a bunch of these and maybe weld them together, let's see here. And it looks about, I don't know, maybe like 1.25 inches, about the size of an intake manifold. So there's 2 of those. Oh, 3. 4. Okay, so I can probably make a spiral with this by welding all of these into a circle or a spiral. And I think my carburetor sleeve will go right onto this. So I think I found enough stuff to make this intake. So I think the stuff I found is pretty much long enough. So I have 4 pieces here, 4 tubes, and each one is about 1.25 feet, 1 foot and 2.5 inches. So that'll be around 5 feet on the outside diameter. And then I have a couple sleeves to go off of the intake manifold. So I think this might work. I might have to weld this stuff together, or I might use sleeves to connect the pieces. So that's a pretty decent size right here. So you figure a 5-foot loop, I mean, that's a lot of length, and it's not going to be sticking out of the bike like the 3-foot intake did. So I think this will work. And I can overlap on one of the ends to mount the carb. And then another thing I don't think the Minibike expert put in the equation is the ram air effect. So maybe I'll face the carburetor forward with a velocity stack to add to the velocity, even though he did say that the velocity is going to be 27 times better than it would be before. So I'm not sure if I need a ram air or not. So pull off this perfectly good running carburetor. But no worries, it's going to run a lot better. It would have been nice if the Minibike expert would have left a diagram on how to put this thing on here. Hopefully I can keep this carb close enough where I can use the same throttle cable. I think I'll start off with this intake manifold and this piece of hose, because I need to come out alongside the frame. So if I mount that there, and the hose comes out there, I think that's a good starting point. So I got the intake on there, and I can turn this however I need it. So then you figure run this here, Run that there. Run that there. And then the other one down here, the carburetor will come out somewhere over here, but the only problem is it's opposite of ram air, which is kind of good maybe because the Minibike expert didn't include ram air in the equation. So the carburetor will be facing this way, which I guess will be okay. I mean, if I can get me a different piece to come out this way, I might start this way, and that way I could have ram air. Okay, so I got that there, that clamped on there. So now I think I'll throw a sleeve on here. This thing's turning out pretty sweet. I pretty much put it together exactly like the Minibike expert's equation on the board, except for one small detail. So I got it all clamped here, but on his equation, you can see that the clamps are supposed to be turned back for aerodynamics because the wind hits them right here. So to kind of slow the bike down. Yeah, if you look on his equation, the clamps are supposed to be turned back. I mean, but that's okay. It'll slow the bike down maybe just a little bit because the wind will hit the clamps. But if it does, but if I can't handle the speed, then I might turn the clamps back. But anyway, so there we go. So far, so good. And I think the carb's gonna come out in the pretty much stock location. I can use the stock throttle cable or the one that's on the bike. The only thing I'm gonna have to extend is the fuel line. So let me see if I can brace this thing up a little bit to hold the weight. I think just a simple hose clamp and a piece of rubber. So I think if I put a piece of rubber here between the frame here and the intake and then clamp it right here, I think that'll work. Oh yeah, be a lot better. And then I can brace it down here. I mean, with this kind of power, you definitely want to have this stuff braced. Okay, so for the carburetor part, the manifold that bolts off of the VM22, I'm gonna use this cut VM22 intake. So I have just your regular one there, but I'm gonna throw this one on there, and that way I can just use a sleeve, and there you go. And we're on there. And then of course, on this intake manifold, I gotta make sure that I get the new one in alignment again. So we got a nice perfect alignment down on there. So like I said before, with this kind of speed, you definitely want to brace everything really well. So I think I'm going to brace the front of this intake too, because it's kind of moving around here. I'm going to bolt a piece of metal from there to there. And I think that definitely will hold it up. So make sure my carb's not too close so I can still use the choke. So I pretty much finished her up. I got the fuel line hooked up. And that was pretty much it. I didn't have to run the throttle cable because the carb came out in a nice spot. Yeah, the carb came out perfect, in the perfect spot. I just had to extend the fuel line a little bit, and that was pretty much it. So I already have a baseline on this bike from the build video. So it did 5.13 0 to 30 and 53.17 top speed. So I guess the only thing to do now is go test this out, and we'll see if the Minibike expert was right. Baby up and make some power. Okay, this thing idles pretty good. It actually sounds good. I can feel the intake runner getting cold. So Got a nice cool charge. I wonder if the Minibike expert put that in the equation. He probably did. So what if we can beat 5.13 0 to 30? I think that's what it is. Well, it picks up pretty good. Man, that thing picks up surprisingly well. Well, actually, it's not too surprising. I mean, because, you know, it did take 6 months to figure this thing out. Rocket ship. Let me make sure nothing's falling off. Alright, still looking pretty good. Yeah, that intake charge, I can't even feel it through my glove. It's cold. Alright, let me see if I can get a connection here on the draggy. Okay, 0 to 30 with a 5-foot intake. This thing's got good throttle response. I mean, really good throttle response. All right, let's see if we beat 5.13. It smoked 5.13. It's not just like 1 or 2 tenths quicker. It's a lot quicker. 4.61. I mean, that made a big difference. Let me see if I can back that up. Yeah, that's cool. It's a lot quicker. And it actually sounds really good at idle. 4.61, let me see if I can beat that. .56. Man, that thing is substantially quicker. Let me do it one more time, just to make sure. So it's over a half a second quicker, which is a lot quicker, actually. Man, the mid-range on this thing's got a lot of pull to it. You can definitely feel a difference in the mid-range. As you're coming up on RPM, it pulls a lot harder. It'll be interesting to see if this thing's got a good top speed. Man, that intake runner is cold. Alright, let me see if I can beat up on about, what, 4.5 seconds? 0 to 30. Man, it seemed pretty quick that time. Let's see what we got here. 4.65. So we are definitely quite a bit quicker, actually. So that made a big difference. Now let me see what the top speed does. So I got to beat around, what, 53 miles an hour? See if we can beat up on 53. Man, this thing is so much quicker. But I guess that long intake runner. So the idle's coming up just a little bit as this thing got really hot, or, you know, warmed up. I figured it might be like maybe like 1 or 2 tenths quicker, maybe. But it's a lot quicker. But then again, the Minibike expert already knew. Yeah, the mid-range on this thing's got a lot of pull to it. Like as it comes up on RPM, it pulls really good. So I was cruising up the street here. Yeah, it pulls up the hill really nice. Just kind of cruises along. I can feel the intake charge on my leg. It's a lot colder as we're driving around. Yeah, it pulls up that hill really nice. Just kind of cruises along. It's got plenty of mid-range torque. So in the last video, on the build video on this bike, I did the speed run down the, I think from the top down to the bottom. So at least that way it's on the same track. Yeah, this intake feels cold. That's one thing about it. So if you're riding around in the summertime, it'll definitely act like an air conditioner for your leg. That thing has got some serious pull to it when you take off. Beat up on the top speed just a little bit, 53.23. I think, what was it last time, 53.17. I mean, so the top speed's pretty much identical, but the thing is, right at the top, I can't give it like full throttle. I can only give it like 7/8. If I give it like all the way to the top, then it kind of craps out a little bit. So if I mess with the jetting on this, man, it's got a lot of pull right here. That's definitely more than before. Let's go cruise around the hood. Just to kind of see how just the everyday riding manners are. I mean, it actually rides better than it did before in the mid-range. Like right here, it's got a lot of pull to it. Like a lot of throttle response. The intake runner is getting colder and colder. So I wonder how it'll run if I pull the air filter off, and throw a velocity stack on here. Because with that long runner, maybe it needs a little bit more air. Man, that thing pulls hard right here. Off the mid-range, it's a lot better. So this thing is substantially quicker. I mean, over what, a half a second quicker? I mean, that's a lot quicker on the bike. I figured it'd only be like maybe like a 1/10 or 2 quicker, but it's a lot quicker. And it did beat the top speed, but that was around, I would say 7/8 throttle, like almost full throttle. But right at the top, if you give it full throttle, it kind of craps out a little bit. So I'm gonna swap out this air filter for my velocity stack, VM22 velocity stack, and it does have a screen on it. So, I mean, I'm not sure if it'll make any difference, but while I'm here, might as well check it out. Yeah, it's surprising how good this thing runs. I figured it would kind of be delayed with this long intake, but it's like really throttle responsive, especially in the mid-range. I mean, it's got a lot of throttle response. Throw on my VM22 velocity stack. So let's go see if this makes a difference. I mean, it might not, but what the heck? While I'm here, might as well see how it responds. Oh, sounds pretty good. Throttle response still feels pretty good. Doesn't seem like it likes it. I mean, it kind of craps out really early now. It does not like that extra air. Let's see what it does going up the street. So it pulls really hard until about right here. Oh yeah, it definitely does not like this velocity stack at all. Yeah, it definitely does not like that. It does not like that velocity stack. Let me check out that plug. Oh man, so this thing is running rich. So if I jet this thing down a little bit, man, this thing might be a rocket. So let's see what we have in here. Well, nice clean carb. Of course, because it's a brand new build. So in the build video, I drilled this out. I think it was the 46 drill bit. So it's about a what, 115, 16, or 17? And it's still a little bit rich. But we are up here at elevation, so maybe I'll throw this 110 in there and just see what it does. Just to see if we're going in the right direction. I don't have a 115, so we'll just throw this in there and see what happens. So I got the 110 in there. So we know the pilot jet and the mid-range circuit are right there in the ballpark because this thing is a rocket compared to what it was before. I mean, it's a lot quicker. So we'll see if we can clean up that top end. Oh yeah, I like that better. Definitely likes that main jet better. Yeah, the mid-range feels great. So it seems better all the way around. Well, the mid-range and the low speed and the mid-range were really good before. I mean, so it's still, so those were good. But the top end definitely feels a lot better. but it definitely does not like that velocity stack for whatever reason. So we're going in the right direction with a smaller main jet. It just doesn't like that velocity stack. I could probably tune on it a little bit more. So this engine has the stock valve springs, or I think it has the stock valve springs. I've never tore it apart. So it's not gonna have much more top speed because it's not gonna turn many more RPM. But on the low speed, that's where the long intake made a big difference. We already beat both of the previous times in the build video. So in the build video with the VM22 and the header pipe, the bike did 5.13 0 to 30 and 53.17. Then I added the 5-foot intake and we dropped quite a bit from 0 to 30. It's a lot quicker, 4.61 and then 53.23 top speed. So the Minibike expert was definitely right. This thing's a lot quicker. I mean, substantially quicker. And it has a lot more mid-range from like 20 miles an hour up to like 40. It pulls a lot harder. So definitely a big upgrade. But the only thing is the intake gets super cold on my leg. So I would like to move it out just a little bit farther or maybe put some insulation on there. But other than that, this thing is pretty good. Definitely a rocket ship.